surprise. You didn't expect to find me here, did you? I'm at the bus stop. Come with me on a journey. So today I'm going off to a day retreat with the gorgeous Mela, and it's called Love Your Rage. And isn't it surprising that just as I start to talk, the bus arrives? So bear with me as I get on the bus and I'll continue talking to you. Here we go. There, right, so I'm on the bus, on my way now. Yes, it's a day retreat. So today is a very special day. Yes, in lots of ways, because I know I have lots and lots of friends with birthdays today, and two of them I always remember, even if I never managed to get round to saying happy birthday, are Claire Santry, who I worked with at the BBC for many years, and I encouraged her to visit Nicaragua when she was taking her career break. And I said, go to La Esperanza, Granada. And she did. And she went for 3 months and stayed for 6. And it's also my friend Andre Messiah's birthday today. So I'm wishing you both very, very happy birthday. Last night, me, Andre, and the girls were at a disco for grown-ups. And it was such great fun because it's all my tunes. All the tunes from the playlists that I use for my Inferno Hot Pilates came on, the 90s tracks, the 90s dance music, house music, so that was fantastic. And going back to Claire, actually, so Claire took a career break, and when she went to Nicaragua, as I said, she went for a short time and then she stayed for longer at this charity that I had recommended. And when she came back to the BBC, she didn't stay very long. She works at the United Nations now. She's worked at NATO, I believe. She's worked at amazing places since leaving. And I knew, I was inspired because I knew I'd seen other people when they went on career breaks, they came back, they'd grown and they'd outgrown the BBC, and then they left. And I thought, this is what's calling me. And so here we go. On this day, 13 years ago, I stepped foot off a plane in Managua, capital of Nicaragua, and I put one foot down and I thought, I was going for 6 months, and I thought immediately, I knew that 6 months was not going to be long enough. And I stayed for a year, 1 year in Central America, and it was absolutely life-changing, fantastic. And that is where my little character, Cicasso, was born. So today, Cicasso also has a birthday. She's 13 years old, and the seeds were laid, and I created the character to draw, when I was drawing. What I noticed when I was teaching the children, so I went to a charity called La Esperanza Granada in Nicaragua. In Granada, Nicaragua, and Granada's about an hour's drive from the capital, Managua. And when I was teaching the children to read and write in Spanish, I always say that because people assume that you go over and teach people English. I didn't. I taught them to read and write in Spanish. And what I noticed was that the children would copy. I went to the board, I'd write something, and immediately they start copying, because that is the way they've been taught, that you copy everything we write down. This is how we teach you. And I thought, well, this is a bit crazy. So I started drawing pictures and just making it fun, and drawing crosswords, really simple crosswords, and using pictures to illustrate the words, and just made it really, really good fun. And one of the things I did, so I had a story called, well, it didn't have a title at the time. So when my niece was 2 years old, Amy, you were a naughty, well, you weren't naughty, you're just like me, chitty chatty, chatterbox. You could literally have an adult conversation with this 2-year-old. She was so fluent, so chatty, and it was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I remember I don't know where I was taking her, but we were going down the road and she kept pressing the buttons on the traffic lights, and I said, oh, can't do that. So I told her this story about the origin of the little red and little green character in the traffic lights. And I said they were naughty children who got zapped up. And now, it seemed like quite a good story to me, but when I repeat this to other people and now say it out loud, it seems quite scary, but it wasn't meant to be scary. It was just meant to be a cautionary tale. And so I turned this story, I wrote it in Spanish, and then I got Maria de Los Angeles to just check the grammar and the spelling and everything, and I kept it really simple, and then I illustrated it with characters, Jose y Josefina, brother and sister, and basically the story was the story of the naughty little children and the magical traffic lights. And so they did what Amy did. They used to press the buttons. They used to skip down to the traffic lights and press the buttons. And what they didn't realise was when they pressed the button of this particular traffic light, it was magical, and they got zapped up and told off. Or told, corrected. Anyway, told off, yeah. And when they came back down, they were never that naughty again. That was the story. So it was really simple, really straightforward. And I drew little pictures to go with it. And then I showed it to the children. And we got the materials. The charity was really good. They had loads of resources, stationery, and I bought stuff as well. So I turned it into a little booklet, and then they copied. So they had their own books, and they could copy the words, which were all really simple, straightforward, and drew pictures as well. So each of the children in the class had their own little book that they created. And so that was the origins of Cicasso. A little girl, it was actually Josefina, but then as I started to draw it more and more, she changed, and she started to look a little bit more like me, with grey streaks in her hair. But not unfortunately, now we have to make her a little bit more grey, or do we? Because there's another character now called Witch Woo Woo. Witch Woo Woo has grey hair, has a grey streak, and Witch Woo Woo has a twin sister who has grey hair and a black streak. So which one would be more like me, I wonder? Anyway, I digress. So yes, celebrating 13 years today, and also I'm off to this day retreat, which is called Love Your Rage. So I've bought a suitcase. I know, outrageous. You'd think I'd left home for good. In the suitcase is a cushion. You have to bring 3 things with you. A cushion, well, not 3 things, a number of items. A cushion. Now the cushion I had was not very. I'm just checking that I'm nowhere near, because I'll yickety-yak and miss my stop. No, we're only at White Hart Lane, we're okay. The cushion that I had was quite soft, and you want something that's quite sturdy. So what I did was I got another cushion. So I got a cushion cover with a cushion in it, and I added 2 more cushions inside. I squeezed them in, so now it's really thick and padded. I put it into a bin liner, but then it was going to be a bit bulky to travel with, so now it's in the suitcase. I've also packed some flax of peppermint, not peppermint, of ginger tea. You know I like my ginger tea. A bit sniffly. It's that tight turnaround from a night of disco dancing or house dancing to an early morning start, cleaning, the usual washing, cleaning, and the whole body's saying, no dear, we need more sleep. Anyway, so that's what I'm up to today, and I just wanted to come on and tell you all about 13 years since I went to Nicaragua, and what I want to add is, what is that thing that you want to do, and what is really stopping you? Now is the time to do it, because you can find 1,000,001 excuses for why it's never the right time. There will never be a right time. If not now, when? Take that action right now. What is the first and simplest step that you can take to move yourself towards that goal, that thing that you want to do. Because I tell you, that thing that you are feeling resistance to, it's a desire, but there's a little bit of resistance, there's a little bit of fear. The fear, remember, false evidence appearing real. You've created a story in your head as to why you can't do it, when actually the pain, the discomfort that you're putting up with, tolerating, is far worse than the action that you need to take. Take that action today. I have lots of things going on, lots of wonderful programs and ideas, so check out my bio and see whether we are a fit to work together and have a good time, because I tell you, it's a rip-roaring time, full of fun and laughter. Best way to grow and transform, to channel your inner child as you were, perfect and fun. On that note, Soul Tribe, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I get you, I've got you, I love you. Have a wonderful day. I'm signing off now because I want to keep my eyes on the journey. I'd hate to miss it. It's supposed to be there before 10. I left the house half an hour late. That's my ego, you see, self-sabotage. But no, I'm on the bus, I'm on my way. Anyway, send you lots of love. Bye.